Because now they're negatively charged. How do I know these are negatively charged still? Again, how do we know that it's still charged, that this is not neutral anymore?
They're pushing apart.
Yeah, they're still apart. And you can always check it by, if I touch it, I ground it, and so I've taken away all the excess electrons. So now it's neutral again. They start to spread apart a little bit, I take it away, the leaves go back to where they were. So they're neutral again. I'm not transferring electrons from here to there.
Would it just be the proximity of the negative electrons to each other that pushes them apart?
The proximity of the electrons, which electrons are you talking about?
So if you have a negatively charged rod,
Okay,
it's, I guess, has more electrons than protons.
okay,
If you put it closer to the neutral object over there, then the electrons within that neutral object will try to go away from the negatively charged rod. So I think it's just based on proximity instead.
and that's it. I have electrons, this is neutrally charged, I have electrons everywhere. When I bring the negative charge rod close to it, the electrons here go, whoa, wait a second, danger, and they run away. So I have more electrons down here than I had before, so these are negatively charged. When I take this away, the danger's gone, the electrons return to where they were. So it doesn't have to transfer, it just, all I have to do is scare them. All right, so, questions to here? All right, so how do I know this is negatively charged? Because it's Rutherford PVC. There's something known as the trigoelectric effect. And I believe trigo comes from the Greek word for rubbing or something like that. Basically, they have experimentally gone through with a whole bunch of materials and decided that if these two materials rub against each other, which one is more apt to get electrons, which one is more apt to give up electrons. And so it's a long list, and so the objects that are more likely to gain electrons down here, PVC and plastics generally are down here, and then fur tends to be up there. All right, so we're going to charge this thing, make it negative again. I'm going to touch it. All right, they are negatively charged. If this were May, those leaves probably would start coming back together again. Why? Why is this horrible to do in May? Best to do in January.
They have allergies, and it's pollen season.
Man, it is the worst. No one escapes, especially charged particles. What would potentially be a different reason for why?
There's more moisture in the air, and you said that water would make it neutral.
Yeah. Water is a pulverized molecule, which means that if I have a water molecule, there's a side that tends to be positive, a side that tends to be negative. Let's see, I want to keep that stuff down there. All right, so a water molecule, it's got an oxygen and it's got two hydrogens off to one side. Hydrogen's got a proton, it's got an electron buzzing around it, and so this right here is a symbol saying that they're sharing electrons. And so this tends to be positive side because the electrons are getting pulled towards the oxygen. And over here, I've got the electrons that aren't being shared with anyone else, and this tends to be the negative side. And so, therefore, if I have an electron sitting there and I have a lot of moisture in the air, an electron can get attracted to the positive side. And so the electrons can get pulled off into the air. So humidity is a real issue. I've done static electricity experiments in Columbia, South Carolina in the summertime. There's no amount of air conditioning that can make those work well. All right, so this is negatively charged because, well, I've looked up the triboelectric effect chart and it tells me. I'm now going to take glass. And rub it. So the question is this negatively charged or positively charged? And how can I tell?
If the leaves repel each other?
Well, they're already repelling each other.
If they come together,
Then this is,
it's positive.
all right. So if it's positive, then it's going to attract those electrons from the leaves, and the leaves should come closer together. If it's negatively charged, those leaves, I'll chase more electrons down into there. And they did come together. This doesn't hold a charge like PVC does, but this was positively charged. And you look again, see that the leaves do come closer to each other.
So PVC always becomes negatively charged and glass is positive?
Yep, so, and this is how they do it.
If you were to rub your finger with the fur, would you become a positive or?
Is it, could I shock somebody?
Yeah?
Possibly. Not feeling it right now. Anybody want to see if I can actually, all right.
Were you Jesus or was I?
Or I was Adam.
Adam. I'll be Proton.
All right. Now, if I took another piece of plastic, I don't know about this, which if this is more apt to take electrons with PVC, but this should become negatively charged, unless it's a different kind of plastic. Let's see. They moved out a little bit, so this is negatively charged. Did not seem to work as well as that did. Suppose I took a metal rod, or a piece of metal, and rubbed it.
So do you have to rub everything with fur to activate it?
No, not off the rub everything. Just,
Like what if you rub the metal and the glass together?
well, let's first off just deal with the metal. If I rub the metal with this, metals tend to be somewhere in the middle. So the metal should become negatively charged, maybe slightly. But if I bring it near it, nothing seems to happen. Why?
Isn't it neutral?
Pardon?
Neutral?
But if it's taking electrons, where do the
Is it a
electrons go?
conductor?
It is a conductor, so where do the electrons go?
Neutral?
The same words? Where would they, if I put electrons on this, where would they go?
Into your hand, which
Yes.
would then cause, which would then balance them out, because you were too large to be affected by such electron charge.
Yeah, for this little amount, yeah. So I'm the one, I'm basically grounding this as I do the rubbing.
Would it be different if you touched it with the fur? Like you were holding it with the fur?
Oh, if I brought the fur close to it?
Yeah, no, I mean like if you were rubbing the metal, but you didn't hold it with your hand. Like
Ah.
you held it in the fur.
I suspect that also it's not rough enough really to pull them, but let's find out. I have an insulating glove here. Throw it on the rough part. See if I get anything going here. Looks like I'm losing a lot of hair. Anybody have hair allergies?
A little bit, but-
Okay. Good thing I'm doing it over close to you.
Yeah, that's great.
Nah. It's just also not an immune transfer. But if I touch it, it grounds it. That's large enough. All right. Questions up to here before we crank up the machine? It's always fun doing the next part in a room full of computers. So, let's see if I can. That's probably far enough away. This is a Van de Graaff generator.
It's a what generator?
Van der Graaff generator. Now, there's a belt here, which is an insulator. There's a piece of material down there, and then when you first start up, it's going to slip a little bit. When it slips a little bit, there's going to be a transfer of electrons onto the felt down there, making the belt positively charged. When the belt's positively charged, it's going to come up here. It's going to pull the electrons from here. The electrons are going to go down and be bled off to someplace else. So ultimately, this becomes positively charged.
It looks like one of the things that the camera would pan over so that you know you're looking at a mad scientist lab.
Yeah, I think the stereotype is you got something like this going on.
Right, right.
Now, in order to get near it, it will hurt a great deal if we get it going and I bring my hand this close. That would hurt.
Let's go from 1 to 10.
Have you ever touched a live outlet?
No.
You have? The live outlet is sort of your muscles sort of tighten up, and when the electricity's gone, it just feels like you did a really powerful workout or something like that. This is take all of that and concentrate it down to a single point, because it's basically going to spark one way or the other. So
11.
close to it, yeah. So that's why I'm going to have this right here to be able to get close to it without actually hurting myself. My first year, they hadn't found this yet, and we had smaller ones that were about this big. And basically you hold it like this because there was a square base, and I was being really cautious, a lot more nervous about electricity at the time. And this student goes, "Crank it up, Dr. Fox, crank it up!" No, I'm comfortable with it where it is. "Come on, Dr. Fox, crank it up!" No. "Dr. Fox, I'll hold it." "Sure, come on up." So he was holding like this. He was about this far away. The spark actually shot, would be from his finger that way. Yeah, so fortunately, for legal purposes, it was not filmed.
Did he say a bad word?
No, he did not. Not that I recall, at least. The rest of the class was quite amused. So I'm sure that is. All right, there should be enough juice there for me to turn that off. Now, there is a grounding wire that's missing from this. So, and sometimes this gets charged also. So I like to turn it on and off from a switch like that, as opposed to flipping it down here, because I can shock myself turning it off there. Hopefully the belt is,
So does that dial how many watts?
it's just, it's basically, it's at 100% of whatever that is.
Wow.
See the spark?
Yeah. not just science, guy.
All right, so this is positively charged, that's positively charged, this is now positively charged too, because when it had so few electrons, it pulled electrons from here. Is this still charged? Well, we can find out by bringing it close to here. And it's slightly charged, not a whole lot. Is this still charged? Slightly. And eventually, it dissipates enough that I can just touch it nervously.
Would doing it fast like that make a difference? Like, I understand the idea with something that's hot, but with electricity, would it make a difference how short you kept it?
The spark is going to happen much faster.
Right.
It's
So
just-
what happens in that tube again?
basically, the belt becomes positively charged down there. So we have a positively charged belt moving up to the top here. It pulls the electrons from here. Actually, I can show you this part. Oh, and what the heck? We can even turn the light on. That was last time, not this time. All right, so that's what the inside looks like. So there's this cone-like thing, this metal grid with basically tips of metal. It's like a wire mesh that's been cut off. And those tips you want as close to the belt as possible so that electrons don't have, so it's easier to transfer electrons onto the belt. And if it's too close, it'll rip the belt. We've done that before. So basically, electrons get sucked onto the belt, brought down here. The electrons are bled off. Belt is positively charged again, and it goes back for more.
So electrons go down, goes to the belt positive, back up positive, then back down negative.
Yeah, it comes down negative or neutral. The electrons are taken off, making the belt positive again.
What would happen if we did it without the top on?
Let's find out.
No.
I suspect that you would see sparks there. I don't know, I haven't done this before. I would recommend not looking at sparks from this distance, but if you are near a desk, oh, it's gonna hit my hands before it hits my face. If you are near a desk that you think can hold you, you try standing up on it and see if you can look down. Let's find out what happens though.
I foresee this only going well.
Uh-oh. I can't see, I can't get close enough. All right.
So
It does not charge as well,
Mm-hmm.
judging from the lack of much there. So now in the future, when someone asks that question, I can just look at them like, who raised you?
What a out of the box and extremely unnecessary question.
If I ever have a kid and you have to be here by then, I'll tell them to ask you.
Okay.
Elizabeth asked. I mean, Elizabeth raised me. Elizabeth Ellie, Elizabeth Ann.
And then I'll go, oh, that makes sense.
All set.
Now, also, over enough time, oils from various hands get on this thing.
I was gonna ask, does that make it neutral?
Oh, this, no, but I'm just trying to get the oil off, which makes it a little bit less. All right, so now, I'm gonna take a pie pan, put a pie pan on top of it, and then I'm gonna turn it on. What is going to happen?
It'll go flying off.
Why?
It's opposite? No, it's neutral.
Yeah, the whole thing's neutral right now.
But whenever you turn it on, it's going to be positive up there. Because it goes neutral, neutral, it goes positive, neutral, neutral.
All right, so what's gonna be positive?
The dome,
Okay, what about the pie pan?
it's gonna become positive because it's touching it. Because it's neutral as a conductor, so whatever it touches becomes positive, and then it's gonna go flying up because it's repelling.
Okay, you pretty much nailed it, other than the flying up part, it's gonna be a little less dramatic than that, unfortunately. And again, probably better if I have.
Wait, because the pan is neutral?
Yeah, they're both neutral at the moment.
Okay.
We're gonna make this positively charged. So it wants electrons. Hey, there's a source of electrons right here. They get pulled off the pie pan because, as Ellie said, conductor. And so then they're both positively charged. Occasionally I have a student who dislikes the shock, so any volunteers to discharge it quickly? All right. It just feels like it wouldn't hurt as much, but it really shouldn't make a difference.
This reminds me of the time when my dad tried to put his hand on one of the electric fly swatters.
Ah,
How's it?
all right. I would like a piece of string.
A piece of string.
That might be too heavy, but it's here. Oh,